Greetings. This is going to be a clip about why black leaders are assassinated, viewed from a thermodynamic point of view versus a social or political point of view. And the advantage that that's going to give us is that it's going to help us to simplify the matter and allow us to see all the players from levels of energy units versus the complications that can come along with understanding the individual circumstances. All right, and so in order to understand that, we need to understand where the black masses stand, where the black population stands in the system of America. All right, so we say blacks have 100% potential energy. Okay, that's their productivity, 100% productivity. Okay, out of that 100%, maybe 3% is allotted for blacks or kicked back to blacks to find their happiness. So within this 3% of their productivity, food, clothing, shelter is in this 3%. Okay, anything above this 3% is a no-no in this system, because that then means that blacks are becoming more productive for themselves, which is not advantageous for the system that we're in. The other 97% goes to others. All right, so when you go to work, your productivity is far higher than the pay that you get. The pay that you get then gets spent on other entities, other places that don't circulate into your neighborhoods or communities. All right, so when we understand this particular situation, thermal equilibrium is the principle that's going to help us bring this situation to light, where our leaders are persecuted or assassinated for whatever reason. And thermal equilibrium is basically a principle that says that in an environment, if two objects are there, the hotter one is going to transfer energy to the colder one. All right, so for instance, we have two objects. One is 35 degrees, the other is 65 degrees. All right, and so what they're going to do, this one that's 65 degrees is going to transfer energy to the one that's 35 degrees. They're going to interact. And so to get their thermal equilibrium, we're going to add them together, divide by the two of them, and we're going to get 50 degrees. And so 65 degrees gave 15 of its energy units to the one that's 35, bringing them to an equal temperature of 50 degrees. Okay. Now these are inanimate objects, so the way that they share information is going to be pretty basic. All right, but this also applies to humans. But instead of just doing work, humans can also share energy through information or knowledge. All right, so let's say, for instance, we take a portion of these masses of blacks at their 3 level. All right, and say we inject a charismatic leader that they're receptive to, and this person may have refined spiritual values or may have a lot of different ideas, innovative ideas that can help these people come up to a certain level as far as quality of life and that they're receptive to. All right, and so this same formula is going to apply here. All right, now this person is going to share information with these others, so he's not going to lose any information like what happens up here where the 65 lost some of its temperature to give here. So you're going to add these guys up, and this is going to drop an 8 of information, drop some joules on these folks. And so that's going to be 12 plus that guy's 8, which is going to bring us to 20. Then we're going to divide by this population of 4, whatever it is, 4 billion, 4,000, whoever it is, and you're going to divide it. And so now their thermal equilibrium point, given the help of this person, is now at 5. So you can clearly see the conflict now is that these people who were previously at a 3, meaning that the majority of their efforts were going to others, now the number is increasing for themselves and decreasing for the others, because they're now taking some of their productivity back. And that in this system is a no-no, a big no-no. So what happens? Then the guns are drawn by the system that we're in, that gets most of its resources, and well, not gets most of its resources, but gets the majority of blacks' productivity for themselves. The guns are drawn and they're pointed at this guy. And so it's pretty simple to see, boom. The obvious choice is to take this person out. So whether it's by persecution, prison, or whether it's just straight out assassination, this is going to be the obvious choice. And so you have to keep in mind that to keep these people at 3%, there's already weapons drawn and being used against them in different ways. You have bad media, you have lack of resources, education, unjust laws, unjust treatment under the laws, etc., etc. Okay, and so this is the conflict. This entire situation here is the conflict that this system has with our black leaders. Because if we increase our productivity as black people and we take some of those resources and that productivity, use it for ourselves, by principle it has to come from the system we've been supporting. And that's what creates this problem of black leaders, and they have to be eliminated. And so there's many different examples that you can draw from and look at it and see it plain and simple. That's what happens.